Looking at this post right here by Ball Guy, it seems like the game might actually look good. Now, apparently it's not supposed to be as graphically intense as, of course, Pokemon Snap, but it is set to look much better than we had from Pokemon Generation 9. So this is all great news straight off the bat, but one thing that I wanted to take a look at is Game Freak's new game. For those of you who are like, Game Freak doesn't know how to make art styles or games that actually look good. Now, I don't know if this is relevant to you at all, but if you take a look at this game right here, Game Freak's new game that was announced in the Xbox presentation, the game actually looks good. Like, it actually looks surprisingly good for a Game Freak game. And since it's on just the Nintendo Switch 2, they can utilize this hardware in so many different ways. We know that the Switch 2 is basically as powerful as an Xbox Series S, so they can definitely utilize things like this. Now, how exactly could this game look? Because usually with Pokemon games, they don't make them necessarily the best graphics or the biggest graphically intensive game that it looks super realistic, that you look down, you see the light that reflects off the Pokeball and you're like, wow, this looks good. But instead of more of a cartoony art style. Now, I believe that this is what Pokemon Generation 10 will look like. As you can see from this image right here, it's not the biggest leaps and bounds in terms of cyberpunk on an RTX 5090, but it still is a really good looking game, a very good looking video game. And from all of the other leaks and information that we have for this game, you really look at this and you're like, this could actually be the greatest Pokemon game that we've seen in a long time. If you look at it, the leaks and rumors that we've gotten really point towards a pretty great game. So first off, we have a whole bunch of different islands that you'll be able to explore. About 30, could be more, but it seems like 30 different islands is going to be the method to this madness. But also, every single island is going to have its separate little habitat. So if you go to a volcano island, you're going to see pretty much basically fire type Pokemon, maybe some rock type Pokemon are going to be there. You can go to an ice island that's going to have like ice type Pokemon, maybe water type Pokemon, but mostly ice and water type Pokemon, which honestly would be really cool to see. It seems like there's a big open city where you can explore and probably go and buy some Pokeballs, you can go and buy some potions, you can go and buy a bunch of different things to aid in your adventure. So honestly, this is really cool. And hopefully this time around, it seems like you might be able to actually go in more buildings. One of the big disappointing factors of Pokemon Legends ZA was that there was like 15 buildings to actually go into, but this time around it looks like there actually might be more, where just like the older Pokemon games, essentially every building that you can see, you can just walk into the building. There might not be anything to do in it, but there was still like a little house where you could walk into the little house and you could see a person sitting there with a Pokemon or whatever the case may be. Honestly, really cool. So my big excitement, my big hope for this game is A, the game runs and plays good, and B, the game looks good. Right now, it's really promising. The game looks like, with the all optimization and things that the Switch 2, the power, everything, it looks like the game will actually run, look good, and play good. So honestly, this is going to be very exciting. And the amount of Pokemon. Now, recently, or I should say a couple weeks ago, we got a supposed leak of the Pokedex. Now, this Pokedex is definitely very cool. It's an interesting looking Pokedex. Now, you have a lot of Pokemon from Kanto, you have a lot of Pokemon from Johto, and it seems like this Pokedex might actually contain 600 Pokemon, which is such a cool feature. And I honestly hope that if we are supposedly going to get DLC, which is looks like DLC will be released in 2027 at some point, well then eventually we can get all the Pokemon. So instead of cutting out Pokemon from past games, so then you have to go out and find Pokemon Home, buy another game to complete your whole Pokedex and Pokemon Home, this could be the game that you can hunt all 1000 Pokemon if you want to get the shiny Pokemon living dex or whatever the case may be. I hope that this is the case right here. So let's just say that the dex actually is, the main dex is about 600 different Pokemon. You got the legendaries, you have the standard Pokemon, potentially legendaries like they had in Sword and Shield or something, that there was alternate legendaries and path that you could go through. Well, then later you get the DLC, which is also going to be adding new Pokemon and old Pokemon and whatever it is. So let's just say by that point we're up to 1100 Pokemon. Let's just hope that each DLC gives you about like 250 Pokemon-ish. So then you have every single Pokemon that has ever existed in one game. I honestly hope that this is the case. I hope that all of these leaks that we've been seeing are true, because right now my excitement for this game is through the roof. Like, quite literally through the roof. If we were in a tiny house and let's just say that we were like 8 feet tall, our head would be through the roof. So honestly, it's just a really exciting thing, and I hope that Pokemon does this game justice, because some things, like we've seen, you were able to eventually ride Pokemon, like actually on top of the Pokemon, but Game Freak decided to remove that feature. So now, instead of riding on top of Pokemon, you are dragging behind it on a scooter. But that's not all bad news, because you can actually go underwater with the Pokemon and you could drag it. It's kind of like there's a Skidoo, you're riding a Skidoo in real life, and then you're towing something, or you're getting towed from that Skidoo. So it's something like that. It's going to be really interesting on how they can implement this into this game. Right now it's looking good. Fan concept art, we've talked about this before, but I think it's just going to be great. Now, this isn't necessarily correlated to Pokemon Generation 10, but I thought I would throw it in there. Now, apparently to this right here, you are able to capture in Pokemon Champions and then transfer them over to a different Pokemon game. So that could include Pokemon Generation 10. That could include Pokemon Generation 9 if you're doing that. That could include Pokemon Sword and Shield. Overall, it seems to be a very cool thing. So then, like the idea of being able to have every single Pokemon in one game, it could be true. It could be happening. Then you can have your favorite Pokemon. Let's just say that your favorite Pokemon was this creature right here. I honestly completely forget what the heck this guy's name is. Let me know in the comment section down below if you know what this Pokemon is named, because I completely forget. But yeah, maybe you can catch that and make that part of your main Pokemon team. Or maybe you can even get the shiny variant, which I believe is green. So overall, what are your thoughts on this? Do you think that Pokemon Generation 10, or should we say Winds and Waves, is looking really interesting? Or do you think it's looking super cool? You're excited to play a game that actually looks good? I'm right there with you. I can't wait to play a game that really looks good. Like, it's not me just playing the game that looks good. I honestly thought that Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee was probably the best looking game on Switch. Of course, new Pokemon Snap was also a good looking game, but hopefully they can correlate that into the upcoming Pokemon game. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. I hope that you have an amazing rest of your day. Stay excited. Let me know what your favorite thing about Pokemon Generation 10 is. And let me know what you're most anticipated for the Nintendo Direct. Are you going to be seeing Kirby, Pokemon, Mario, Zelda, whatever the case may be? Thank you so much for watching. We do a bunch of different Nintendo content on this channel, as you can probably tell. But anyways, so if you're into that, consider to hit the subscribe button. We're so close to 3,000 subscribers. I thank you so much. That being said, see you in the next one.